Hey guys, so in this video I'm going to show you how to do a brake fluid change on a Vespa VXL 150 or 125. The reason I was doing this was because, as you can see, the brake lever was going in quite a long way before the brakes were getting activated. And also you're supposed to do a brake fluid change around every 2 years, and mine was due. So you start off with removing the mirrors because you need to take off the handlebar cover. The process is a little more involved than a typical motorcycle. You need to remove the riser that the mirror fits on as well. I did that for the left side, but left out the right side one. I'll be removing that later when I take off the handlebar cover. The handlebar cover itself is fitted by 3 screws. 2 of them are at the back side of the handlebar on the left and right, as you can see here. The third one is just underneath the headlamp, and to access that you actually need to remove the horn cover from the front. So start off with using a flathead screwdriver to remove the logo, the Piaggio logo, as you can see here. There is actually a tiny little slot for a flathead screwdriver to fit, so you don't really need to pry. And then use a long Phillips head screwdriver to remove the screw as shown here. Once that's done, you can just lift off the horn cover. Now you can access that screw underneath the headlamp. There, I'm removing the mirror riser that I forgot earlier. Now just gently pull the front part of the handlebar, the part which has the headlamp. It attaches to the left and right sides by 2 tabs. Just pull the cover outwards and you can release them. Some people disconnect the headlamp and take the whole cover assembly off. I just left it dangling there from the headlamp cable. And that's your brake fluid reservoir. Before you open the cover, make sure it's clean so that no dust gets inside. Be careful here. Make sure no brake fluid falls on any of the painted parts, as it's very corrosive. Now come down to the caliper and remove the rubber cover from the bleed valve. You don't need to take the complete cover off like I did here, but it was quite easy to do, and with it off it wouldn't keep flapping around and get in the way. Now mount the right size ring spanner on the bleed valve. I forget what size it was, but it was quite small, smaller than typical motorcycles. And then mount the bleed hose on the bleed valve. Technically you could do without the hose also, but all that bleeding brake fluid would drip all over your calipers, making it messy and possibly also damage the finish on your calipers. Okay, so this is the actual bleeding process. So what you do is you open the valve with the spanner and squeeze the brake lever to pump the fluid out, but you don't release the lever immediately. Once the lever is pressed, close the bleed valve and then release the lever. So the process is open the valve, squeeze the lever, close the valve, release the lever, then repeat again. Watch closely now. Open, squeeze, close, release. Open, squeeze, close, release. Each time you open the valve and squeeze the lever, you should see a small amount of brake fluid being flushed out. Keep an eye on the brake fluid reservoir. Don't let it get empty. Keep refilling it with fresh brake fluid. As you can see, after flushing a little bit of brake fluid, the lever action feels much better. You can usually tell if all of the old fluid is flushed from the color of the fluid that is being flushed out. The newer fluid should be very clear, while the older one, depending on how old it is, can be a little yellowish. Once you're done, pull out the drain hose. Make sure you properly closed and tightened the bleed valve. And refit the rubber protective cap. Refit the reservoir cover. Then remount the handlebar cover. Whoops! I dropped that screw into the abyss. I'll have to get a new screw for the one that mounts underneath the headlamp. One of the 3 screws that attach the handlebar cover. But I think for now the 2 screws on the left and right should be sufficient. Then remount the horn cover, which is pretty easy. And that's pretty much all. I didn't show the remounting of the mirrors, but that's pretty simple, isn't it? Alright then, hope this helps if you plan to do a brake fluid change on your Vespa VXL. Thanks for watching.